Building Lego sets is a blast, but how you can display them creatively instead of just as is, you ask? In this video, I'll give you my process of creating custom scenes using multiple Lego sets that I currently own. Thanks for joining me today. I'm your host, RVB, from RVB Brick Speed Builds, and I've been building Lego sets for 30 plus years and building out custom scenes for my personal display for about 10 years now, and I'm always looking to improve on each build. So let's jump right into my first step. Actually, my first two steps in my process can be interchangeable as to which one comes first, so it's really up to you. But I typically start with what theme or type of scene I want to build and ultimately display. I tend to go through what sets I have made or ones ready to be built to see if there's any ideas that jump out at me. So why don't you take a minute right now and go through your sets? Hopefully you're already getting some great ideas. Not only your larger theme you want to display, but also mini seeds inside that you want to create. I know I have. If not, you can always group the sets by the more prominent Lego themes you have and start to combine sets until something sparks you. I think Lego has done a great job grouping similar sets together underneath one theme that can easily be used in the same display and then build upon each other over time. For this video, I will create a scene using many of the newer sets in the Ninjago theme. I have a couple of dragons, islander boats, and mechs that I want to use. So I'm a little bit all over the place, but they do fall under one larger Lego Ninjago theme and a way for me to set up more extensive scenes using the three types of sets and bring them all together. I have plenty of more ideas about what I want to build, especially around Halloween, Safari, and my favorite Lego theme, the Speed Champion sets. So stay tuned and subscribe to avoid missing out. The second step in my process is location, location, location. I put them on shelves inside cubbies that have minimal space. I put them on top of dressers or TV stands that provide a little bit more length. But in this video, I'm lucky to have a full folding table that I can use for my Ninjago display. Wherever you decide to build out your scene, I suggest measuring your area using 32 by 32 base plates, which I'm going to coin the base plate method. This helps you standardize the measurements on both the area that you're looking to build on, as well as in a future step, the actual set size, so we can figure out if your ideal scene will fit and where you have the space to display. The folding table I have measured is 3 base plates wide by 7 base plates long. So I have a pretty big area to build on, which is very nice. I've already decided that I'll only use about half the table in my measuring step. I want to leave other space to either build more sets in the scene and make it more expensive, or create a completely different theme on side of it and use my space to its full capacity. At this point in the process, you know the theme or specific scene you have in mind you want to build out. You know how much space you're working with. Now it's the fun part of actually building out your sets. Once they are made, as I mentioned before, measure each of these sets using the base plate method. This will be a great starting point to understand what sets you can and can't fit in your display, or if you need to split it across 2 different locations depending on your size. The other thing to think about is the height of the sets. In my case, the mechs and dragons can be pretty high, and if you're on a shelf, you may not have the full height to display. For my scene, I have 6 sets that I'll be using to fill out my display. Let's take a look at what I have today. The speed build links to each of the following sets will be posted below in the description once they are live on my channel. And don't forget to subscribe and or share with your friends if you're finding this information valuable and useful for creating your designs. Now that this is done, I'll start to lay out my colored base plates to provide the world that these Ninjago sets are going to be a part of. I plan on having the dragons on a more of a land and mountain based battle, where obviously the boats I want to put it in the middle of the water. And then, because I added water, I decided to do a beach theme for the mech and serpentine battle to have on the other side. So while there's a lot of different colors for just the base plates going on, I think it brings the world together as one and helps already to start bring to life the sets and displays and understand what story you're actually trying to tell with your display. second most fun part about it, outside of building the individual steps, is step number 4 in my process. That's to put all of your sets together and start to add movement to each individual battle in this case, or each individual mini scene that you've created in your larger theme. As you can see, we have dragons roaring at each other, and I also put the Overlord dragon building up high and wide to try to show the dominance of this dragon. As well as starting to bring in a little bit more smaller scale and add the 2 little minifigures having a nice battle in there as well that also came with the Overlord set. Another thing that I did throw in there is Cole's speeder car, which is a little bit hard to show action on, but at least having both the minifigures in that individual set facing each other, you kind of get a feel that they're going after each other or chasing each other, so it works a little bit, even though there's probably something more you can do with there. And now, in the middle of the scene, where I have all the water, is we actually have 3 boats that came across 2 sets, and I actually have the minifigures, which is actually hard to see here, so I apologize for that, hanging off the boats on both ends and starting to head for each other, preparing for the epic fight and the epic main scene in the middle of your larger display. Then from that battle, we move over to the mech battle, which I decided to put on a beach. I figured it was kind of water themed, change up the color a little bit to split the different mini scenes inside the larger one. So here I have both mechs swinging their weapons at each other, and looking back on it, I think I could have moved it around and did a better job of making it more of action, where maybe one was on the ground and the other one was ready to pounce or on top of it, just to provide a little bit more full action and show that it was already kind of moving along in the battle scene. I'll probably do that next time. Last is I'm just adding the battle of the middle fingers across multiple sets, which includes the Jay vs Serpentine set, as well as some of the bone minifigures from one of the mech sets. And finally, what I like to do, which is not necessary, is I start to add some more scenery to the set, to the display, to help fill in the empty gaps, build out the details a little bit more, which I definitely like to do, as I think it adds a little bit more pop to kind of what's going on and makes it feel a little bit more realistic. And this I use kind of pieces that I have laying around. And in this case, as you can see, I've gone in and add mountains to the kind of the dragon scene, just to give it a little bit more of a size scale as well. I've added kind of trees and plants all over the place. And also in the middle of the water, I had extra leaves, so I decided to drop them in the water, so it'd be like leaves floating around in the water to hopefully give that portray of movement in the water and them going at each other. Definitely let me know if that worked or if you think that was just overkill. I love doing the little details, as I think it makes it feel more realistic, at least in my opinion, and fills in some empty spaces. Sometimes this can get way too much and I roll it back after the fact, but it's just an extra step that you may or may not like, but definitely let me know your thoughts below or what you think I could have done differently. You can also use the scenery to actually connect the base plates so there's no gaps, and it keeps them secure as well in the sets. I hope you find my process useful. I have plenty more tips and tricks to come on building out different scenes and bringing them to life, building out racetracks, and of course my speed build videos to help provide insights to help you decide on what LEGO sets to buy and build today. So I will see you in the next episode.